Hi, everyone. This is Ashley to Grace. This is Ashley Chase and Hum. I'm kind of a mix of um, conversations in a sense, or a mix of words, names online right now. All of them underneath,
I'm not sure.
all of them underneath me. So let's turn that off. Um, I wanted to come online and just talk about rest and relaxation. When we are in our best selves, we need rest and relaxation to help ourselves um, connect and reflect to whom we are. And sometimes we don't always give ourselves that ability to do so because we have such a high expectation or goal that we need to get things done. And a lot of people walk around the world not honoring their needs because they feel like they don't have time to, or they don't have the resources to. And in every option of our day, we always have these different abilities to strengthen ourselves and to unwind ourselves. And not always are we able or capable to understand what they are always. Um, Over the years, I've learned that the reflection of myself has been a mirror to learn with others how to really behave in a sense, because what we do affects all the people and all the world around us. It affects the earth, it affects the animals, the plants, it affects the energy. So our choices affect everything. It's something my mom used to say when we were kids. She goes, whatever you choose to do, know there's always a consequence to it. And I always took this in a heavy way. Though consequences can also be in a loving and light way as well, which I learned later. Can be looked at as both. So if you're young or you're old, in a sense, or elder, we all have these choices to create our own life and to understand that we are co-creating and choosing the opportunities that really are in our life. And when we work so hard to get to a certain goal or to a certain benchmark, and we don't honor what our needs are, we're not allowing ourselves to rest. We're not allowing ourselves to relax. We're not allowing ourselves to just reset. And it's a really big thing to be able to reset our life, our minds, our bodies, and to come into a state of just relaxation at a deeper level. And a lot of people I know when we're younger, we just go, 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 go. We don't always rest. And it's really important to find, if you don't already have that as a practice in your life, how to, whether it's meditation or resting, taking a nap, laying on the ground, laying in a hammock, enjoying relaxing time by yourself or with other people that you feel in harmony with in your heart, your soul, your mind, your energy, your nervous system. It's really important to keep the nervous system relaxed. Over the years, I've practiced a variety of physical sports. I used to play basketball and soccer and run track for my school life when I was younger. And then I always was a dancer. And then towards college, I guess dancing and yoga came in more stronger. And I started learning meditation and about the chakras system and the energy system. I started learning about breath work and then somatic healing and senses and foods, more from a state of intuitive eating. The intuitive eating what came in a little later on in my life, because in the beginning of my life, we were already raised very conscious and aware of eating organic foods from the garden that we had growing up. My parents and me and my sister had helped a little bit create. But realistically, when we all work together, we collaborate, we can bring all of our resources and our gifts together, right? And I just learned over the years that it's so much easier and simpler, even though it's still hard work sometimes to co-create with others. But when we find the people that we're here to be around, we can intuitively guide ourselves with them and with ourselves and what our needs are. And even with the foods that we eat, going back to that intuitive eating, it's been something that over the years I've developed these practices that were not taught to me really by anyone. It just started to feel into what my body needed at the time. So an example would be, we're going into the grocery store, and most people go in with a list because they're out of these food items. But I want you, if you're online right now or watching this later, when you go into the grocery store, maybe see where your eyes go first, or what do you feel brings you joy? What do you know when you eat it already that your body feels better after you eat it versus worse? What makes your head, your mind be clearer and not as cloudy? These are all ways to nutritionally strengthen who you are from a health and fitness, a wellness, a preventative medicine, a way to live your life, a lifestyle choice that helps you overall, relaxation, rejuvenation, regeneration. And then it was a little later in my career, realistically, in lifestyle, that sound has always been around me in music, but it became something that little by little started coming into my life more. It was kind of like a found path. I actually had people donate randomly different musical instruments to me after I started finding my voice again and singing after about 27 years of not singing after being made fun of when I was a child. So, there's these gifts that we all come in with, all of us, and we all have the honor and respect of our own journey to continue working on them and walking through our center. And some of us, unfortunately, because of those goals and benchmarks, we get away from it. We get away from our potential. We get away from our center point. We get away from our inner focus and our inner strength, that confidence of believing in ourselves or feeling enough, because we don't really honor ourselves. Most of us, I would say, around the world start to people please, or we put a mask on to fit in. And it's just not healthy. It's not happiness. It's just a false illusionary state of being to fit in. And unfortunately, I think, I think in certain ways, or feel in certain ways, that over the years, people have been gradually attuning themselves or coming into themselves where they're feeling more guided to be individuals, to be acceptant of who they are and other people. Maybe some are still growing towards that, or some are afraid of that. I know through my own healing that there were parts where I was so scared to look at those dark parts of myself, to discover what was inside of me, because I didn't know what it was. It's kind of like, like going into the basement or going to some house you've never been in. It's like all dark, and maybe there's cobwebs or whatever. You don't know what's hiding in there. It's the same thing in our inside. So sometimes it's scary for us to like even meditate or do something that we've never done before, because we're scared of the unknown. And this is something that we start to acknowledge as we get a little wiser and we go through our journey a little bit more together, inside of ourselves, in our own individuality, and then collectively, as the consciousness raises on the planet simultaneously with the vibration. It helps us to strengthen who we are and empower ourselves to elevate and unite and uplift ourselves and each other. So one of the biggest things I've learned, it's like I came in knowing this, and then somewhere along the way it starts to, fade out. When we're not harmonious inside ourselves and we're not peaceful anymore because of the choices we made or accepted, or we took someone else's advice that led us down the wrong path, but it was still our choice. Us taking that responsibility to correct our life and to strengthen and elevate and empower ourselves to be responsible, to be accountable for those choices, whether they were conscious or unconscious, really is something that is also here to help us learn, to strengthen and to grow who we are. And there's something in that I find just amazing, because it creates this integrity and this honesty and this authenticity and deepening and all of that. It creates an integrity and an impeccableness with our words, our actions, our thoughts, where if we aren't doing those things, managing our thoughts, our mindfulness, our mindset, understanding what their behaviors are, our patterns, our programming, our beliefs are, anything that kind of comes up that we know that's not the best for us, but we decide to do it anyway. It's like an unconscious go into. We start to, kind of dismantle or deconstruct all the work we just worked on. And sometimes that looks like vices and addictions and things. And, realistically, when we do things like that, over time, it not only hurts us, but it also has us hurt other people and has other people attracted to us who also hurt themselves and us. And so it's a perpetual circle in a sense until we start to heal our inner self and see into that darkness and really kind of integrate and bring in the darkness that we have, own it and accept it. Then we can elevate and lift ourselves out of that and go into the light because we've seen it, we've experienced it. I always tell clients of mine too, you got to go through it. There's no way off. Even I've had people in the past tell me, oh, well, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to deal with that. I'm like, okay, well, at the end of your life, from what I've noticed with the elders, when they're passing away, it seems to me, from what they've told me and or what I've experienced in watching them pass, they go through all of the memories and all of their life that they didn't process then, they process at the end of their life. So whether you're processing it gradually during or you're processing it compacted at the end of your life, I feel like we are going to all have to process it at some point to leave and transition to another state, to leave the body. So I know this is kind of a deeper conversation, but I feel like I've just learned over the years that really the rest and relaxation helps to nurture us and helps us to know what our needs are and our balances so we can remain harmonious inside of ourselves. And then on top of that, be able to be harmonious within our relationships. And if there's something that we're not doing, then we're not going to be harmonious. It's kind of like if your body needs to eat, because you're hungry, or you don't feel like you're hungry, but it's, around that time to check in with yourself and see if you need food or water, or you need to create something, or you need some sensual pleasure, or you need to read a book, or you need to stimulate yourself in some way, mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. Each of those aspects of ourself, when we start to work through all of these processes and we start to understand ourselves more, we know thyself, we can start to then understand how we interact with other people more and how they're interacting with us and how to shift our inner concept, in a sense, our inner beliefs, our inner knowing of ourselves to find ourselves one and understand how we relate to one another. And then in addition to that, be able to work through our capacity with each other, how to coordinate, how to collaborate, how to empower, how to work with in a right relationship. So in all ways, each of these right relationships that we have then thus helps us to manage ourselves and manage, in a sense, our internal and external relationships with all. And this is the earth. This is other people. This is animals. This is plants. This is our work. This is our friends, our family. And how to be in right relationship with all of these pieces so that there's an inner harmony inside of ourselves. I've been luckily accepted to be a candidate for this HERS magazine, Miss Health and Fitness, candidate for this competition. And people are sending in votes for the next month, I believe, or this month, for the candidacy. And I'm very grateful for everyone who's been voting. Thank you all. I also have been, and it's been a great honor to be accepted into it because, well, I've gone through a lot the last couple of years where the strength within me has been building, and it's been from all of these different ways and all these different lessons again and again, showing me that it's more than your physical strength. You also have to have an emotional strength and mental strength, an energetic, spiritual strength to get through things, to, in a sense, perceive your situation from a state of deep gratitude and humbleness so that you can understand that there's a way through it. And I know a lot of people sometimes when they go through hard times, it's really hard when you lose a lot to then rebuild it, or rebuild or build in a sense all over again. And that is what happened the last 2 years. Everything fell down or left little by little over time. And then to be shifting everything back into its almost truer alignment. And I've learned through this experience and other ones I've experienced in the past, this being probably the harshest one, is that there's so many lessons. And as we learn the lessons in this ascended spiral, as we go up, we're learning to self-heal, to how to perceive and be grateful for what we really have in our life when we have it in the moment, as the situations and life changes all the time. So we don't always know what's beyond today. Nobody does, for the most part. It's just the unknown. And so a lot of us can experience this fear and anxiety and or depression for the past of what we didn't do. So the greatest lesson that I've learned is to sit with my choices in the moment and intuitively feel into my gut, feel into my instinct, my primal nature, what feels best for me when it comes to my life choices in any capacity. What feels best to me, whether it's the food, the emotion, the working out, exercise, moving my body. I believe in moving your body all day long when you're able to, which are pretty much, I could just move my shoulders up and down. That's helping my back and my shoulders, my arms, my neck, in some ways flex and straighten. It can be as simple as that. I've taught people over the years who had disabilities or septic shock or other things, who told me, they were really having mobility issues, just to even if you just raise your arm every day like this, and try to do that for a couple minutes a day, it'll help you to keep your mobility going. It doesn't always have to be some huge, 250-pound bench pressing thing. And we don't always start there either. Fitness has always been a big thing for my family growing up. My mom specifically was an aerobic instructor back in the day for Richard Simmons. And my sister and I and my dad always were into some kind of physical fitness, I think because our parents were, but also it just to keep our dopamine, serotonin levels, our happiness, our joys going. And movement always is there to help us increase these pieces. It also helps when you're able to move a lot because your flexibility shifts. It's like a willow tree. All of us, I feel, are like trees, and the willow tree kind of bends with the wind. All trees do, but for most, but these ones bend a little easier. So it's just like our bodies and our beings with the tides changing in a sense. Every single day there's different choices and different experiences and opportunities and people that come into our lives. And we can choose, to move, to flow, or we can choose to reset and relax when we need to, or to work a little harder when we need to. But to find that inner knowing of what our needs are, our balance, which is different from each person. There's no inner balance that's the same for me day to day, or you, or anyone else. It's all different for each person. So, as you're growing and learning in your own life, I hope that each of you can start to see that there's so much love and light in the world, and to be grateful for every single piece of your life in every single moment as much as you're able to. Because with the gratitude, it strengthens our resilience, it uplifts our vibration, it keeps us harmonic, because we're seeing what the perception is truly of, a joyful, loving perception versus a fearful and lack perception. So The more we focus on one side, that's what grows, and the other side grows as well. So if we focus on what we have versus what we don't have, the having will continue to grow. So I wish you all well on your journey today into the unknown for the rest of the day or evening. And as my little circle over here is by my head now, remember everything comes full circle. So whatever you give, you also receive. Might not be from the same source, or people, or work, or opportunity, but it always comes full circle. And when we act in goodwill and good faith, with love in our hearts, we continue to help this wheel grow with the abundance. So I just wanted to leave this message here, and whomever's watching, to be honorable for yourself and respect yourself more and more each day, to give yourself more self-love and self-care when you need it, and to understand that whatever comes your way, to make the best choice for you, because that's the right choice, and to trust it. I hope you all have a wonderful moment today. Much love.